Hi everyone, and welcome to this series of webinars brought to you by the Short Stay Week with Gianpaolo Vairo and myself, Damien Sheridan of the Book Direct Show. Today we're going to talk about content marketing, and we've got two of the best speakers around to talk about this. We've got Yvonne Halling of Bed and Breakfast Coach and Louise Brace of Tonic. So
Hello.
I'll quickly introduce myself. My name is Damien Sheridan. I'm the director of the Book Direct Show and the Book Direct Network. And over to you, Gianpaolo.
Nice to have you here this afternoon. I am the co-founder of this B2B, which is the European holiday rental professional community, which is organizing the Short Stay Week. And we are here this afternoon to launch a micro series of webinars about best practices to receive more bookings. And in this first episode, we are touching base on content marketing, which is one of the pillars of the direct booking movement. So we are going through 6 questions. 3 are going to be made by Damien and 3 by me to this very important person we have here today with us. So Damien, let's start.
I'm going to let Yvonne and Louise introduce themselves. So Yvonne, perhaps tell us a bit about yourself and your business.
Hi Damien, hi Gianpaolo. Hi Louise, and thank you for inviting me to take part in this webinar series. I'm Yvonne Halling, bedandbreakfastcoach.com. I specialize in helping independent hospitality professionals to grow their direct bookings business, to stop paying commissions to online travel agents, to make more money, have more fun while working less.
Fantastic. Thank you, Yvonne. And over to Louise.
Thank you, Damien and Gianpaolo as well. So I'm Louise Brace. I'm a digital marketing specialist and a content creator. And my agency, Rental Tonic, or rentaltonic.com, is dedicated to the short stay and hospitality sectors. I work with owners and property managers to craft beautiful brand stories, from nailing the ideal guest profile and the niche market, to developing the overall content strategy for a book direct website. And I also write lots of destination articles and have also started working on video storytelling for destinations as well.
Fantastic. Thanks, guys. So we've clearly got the right people here to join us today to talk about content marketing. For those of you watching, I think it's important to just address how difficult content marketing is. And this is going to be my first question to you both. Content marketing is a lot of hard work, isn't it? Is it worth it? Tell us, Louise.
Okay, so yes. If you want to attract the right kind of traffic to your book direct website, so you want to be attracting your ideal guests who are looking to book an experience which is an experience exactly like what you have to deliver exceptional content. Great content helps you to engage with your audience, with your ideal guests, so they know and they like and they trust you. And the more valuable and authentic content that you write, the more you're presented as both a local and likable expert. So whilst, yes, it is a lot of hard work, and I'm doing this like every day, in the long term, it's absolutely worth the time and the effort. It's a proven systematic way to drive visitors to your book direct website and ultimately to help grow your short-term rental business. So yes, definitely.
Right. Yvonne, what are your thoughts? Would you agree?
Absolutely, most definitely. Your content creation is a cornerstone of your book direct strategy. Now, your content doesn't have to be a lot of hard work, but if you think of it as building assets instead of just posting stuff, then you can reframe your thinking around what you're trying to do. Because you're not just posting for today, you're posting for the long term. Because keep in mind that whatever you post on Google or on your blog, whatever's picked up by Google, stays there forever. So if you think of it as a cornerstone of your business for the long term, not just for today, then you'll get into the right frame of mind where, okay, I'm creating some assets here that's going to serve me and return to me over time for the rest of my hospitality business life.
Great point. Frame of mind. Do you think that mindset, Yvonne, is kind of the first thing that us as owners or as managers of just say, half a dozen or so properties or even less, do you think we have to change our mindset just to become more aware of the benefits of that kind of that long-term, potentially that investment in our content?
Absolutely, yes, I do. The thing is, if you look back on this industry, I'm talking hospitality generally now, independent hospitality. If you look back, it's a very old industry. Welcoming people into our properties and giving them a great experience, feeding them, helping them to feel good is an old industry. And before the internet came along, it was okay just to hang a shingle or hang a sign outside and wait for people to come. That world is gone now, whether we like it or not, that world is gone. And we have to have a good, strong online presence. And part of your online presence is content marketing. But if you can imagine that in the old days, it was more like a job. And many people in the industry still think of themselves as having a job, or in fact, many jobs, too many jobs, in fact. But these days, you have to take into account that your mindset that you've maybe inherited from school and having a job and getting good grades and then getting into a good job with a good company will not serve you in your independent hospitality business. You have to think like a business person in order to win and succeed and to thrive in the independent hospitality sector these days. So mindset is key on this, to recognize that when you're just starting out, particularly when you're just starting out and you've been in a job maybe, and you've got a career behind you maybe, or you've been in some incapacity where you get a paycheck at the end of the month, then you've got to recognize that those thinking patterns that come with that will not help you, will not serve you in the way that you need to think as a business owner. Now, that's not to say that everything that went before, everything you've done before has no value. It certainly does have value. But in order to think like a business person, and then you'll be thinking about creating assets rather than just doing something and getting paid for it now.
Brilliant points. Yeah, really good. Gianpaolo, what are your thoughts on that? Would you agree?
I mean, it's a strategy that you need to consider when launching a new business. But this is something that new businesses starting these days are considering. It is part of the game. The problem here is to not convince, but at least train old businesses or existing businesses that content is the king. If they want to succeed in vacation rental these days, you need to create good content to understand when and where to attract your potential guests. So you need to create different kind of contents in order to be able to catch the attention of your potential guest in every point of the funnel. So this is super important, and many property managers these days, they are not aware of this. So yeah, we need to train them to understand that content is super important.
I think
and it's worth it, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm sure you guys would all agree with this. And as I work in search engine optimization, I know it's something that this can be a long time investment, 6, 9, 12 months plus. You may not see the benefits of this.
Yeah.
And one of the major issues I think we all have is that with the OTAs, it's instant gratification. There are bookings that come in within minutes.
Yeah.
So putting on a listing, and property managers out there are going to think, hey, why would I bother? If I get all my bookings in this way, why would I bother putting in all this effort? If we could just give them one sentence as to why they should bother. Does anyone have one as to why that would be? Louise? Oh,
because if you're going to, exactly as Yvonne says, you have to think about this as, if you want to be successful, you have to think about it as a business. If you are just going to open your home and post it onto the OTAs and that's it, you're always going to be competing on price. And that's just not a good place to be. It's not a good environment to be in. You've got to, you've got to distinguish yourself away from that. And to do that, you've got to have your Book Direct website, and you've got to be creative about the content that you're publishing on there. You've got to create a complete experience. People have to connect with you. They're never going to be able to do that on the OTA. So if you're going to stay on an OTA, you're always going to be competing on price, and there's always going to be someone that's going to be cheaper than you. And that's why you've got to come away from there. I mean, you've got to have them, you've got to have that balance, but you've got to have your own place to be you.
Diversify, yeah.
Yeah.
Were you going to jump in with something there as well?
Yeah, so yeah, I agree with what Louise is saying. They do have a place, right? The OTAs do have a place in the modern world. However, what you need to be aware of is it's so easy to just open up your home, list them on the OTAs, as you said, Damien, and within minutes you'll get bookings, right? But when you do that, and it's like instant gratification, there is no business. You're not building a business when you're doing that. When you're relying on the OTAs, you're actually a kind of employee to their business. You're actually helping them to build their business and paying for the privilege. Just let that sink in, right? You're actually helping the OTAs to build their business, and you're paying as well. You're paying the commission. And at the end of the day, they can switch you off anytime. If there's something they don't like, or their algorithm decides, because it's all bots anyway,
you're out.
Then you are dead. You are nowhere. You have not built anything for yourself for the long term. So it's risky in the long term. It's risky to do that, because you're putting all of your eggs in one basket. And, as I say, you don't really have a business. And
on my point of view, the importance of creating, content is a way to distinguish yourself from others with your unique selling proposition. What makes you unique? How you offer hospitality? What your home, your villa, your apartment has to offer? What is your? I mean, if a property manager did some research before starting a business and know exactly what is the target market, how to attract them, the unique selling proposition is very, very important to differentiate yourself, your offer from other. OTAs are not interested in having you pushing your unique selling proposition, because I wouldn't say goes against their interest or their business model, but when you create content, this is the only way to showcase your unique selling proposition. So this is the importance of doing this.
So slightly away from OTAs then, if we're going to bring it back to speaking about content and what we can actually write about, for example, and publish on our websites. There's a myriad of things that we can be writing about, and almost an infinite amount of things. Yvonne and Louise, what are a couple of things, for example, that you would recommend that we can write about to really engage our website visitors to read, first of all, but also just to engage them and really just to keep them on site a little bit longer, and just make them perhaps even remember our brand a little bit more.
I think there's a kind of symbiotic relationship between the questions people ask, the things that at your property, and before they come, people ask questions, and the relationship between that and what people are asking online, and then marrying the two up with your content. So I teach people keyword research, searching for questions, and then creating content around the questions that's going to be ranked by Google, because those people are already online asking those questions. So anybody can come up with half a dozen questions that they're constantly asked, do a quick check on Google to see if anybody's asking those questions online, and then create the content specifically to answer those questions that is optimized I think it's called on-page optimization,
Yeah.
where the content is actually reflecting what people are searching for in an organic way, no bots or anything like that, but in a coherent way that people would find that interesting. I think that's an easy place for people to start, because everybody can come up with half a dozen questions that they're regularly asked. So creating content around that I would start there.
And Louise, I mean, you do this day in, day out with your clients. Is there anything specifically that you kind of hone in on with your clients that you think?
Yeah, I mean, I mean, again, I totally agree with Yvonne, and I guess just going back, just make basically, because a lot of people don't even think about this, but there are really 3 fundamental content topics that you should be writing on your Book Direct website, and that's about the accommodation, about the destination, and about you. But if you think about it in a percentage of what content should be dominating on your site, it's nearly all and always about the destination and the experience. So we know guests don't book accommodation, they book an experience. And if we want to have a chance of competing outside of the OTAs with our Book Direct site, we need to create some amazing and in-depth content about our destination and all of the wonderful things that a guest is going to experience during their stay. That's both on and off site. So it's kind of all about getting the perfect balance, I think, of content, and also thinking about the functional and the emotional, the inspirational content. So what they need to know. So they need to immediately cover and answer the functional requirements of a guest, which might be the number of guests, the type of accommodation, whether it's pet friendly. Then you've got your what they want to know. So this is their emotional needs, what's the destination going to give them? What are they going to enjoy during their stay? What's the guest experience on site going to be like? And really importantly here, I mean, it's not like what type of content, but it's also about where to find the content. So, rather than having a homepage that just tells you everything, you kind of need to be able to serve the right information in the right place and at the right moment. So every single page that you have is content rich, and it delivers exactly what it's going to say on the navigation.
Yeah, fantastic. Gianpaolo, have you got much experience of suggesting and recommending topics of content for your clients?
Where sorry?
For their website content, do you recommend certain things that your clients should be working on in terms of publishing new pages and topics of content?
I think tourist guides are the most demanded when you need to influence your potential guests to come to your place. So in the end, when people are looking for a place where to stay, the first thing they are looking for where to go. So if you are able to transmit that your destination is the place that they have to visit, your website become a sort of inspirational source of information. Because if you start an engagement before even they book your accommodation, then you became a sort of influencer of the destination. This become more and more important if you have you offer accommodation in a small village, for instance. If you're looking for an accommodation in London, in center of London, maybe this is not so relevant compared with if you're offering an accommodation in a small Spanish village or in Italy or in France, because there are plenty of places where you can go, where you can stay. But there, if you are able to transmit that your village, your town is the best place where you can stay, where you can go, what to visit, then people are, trust you as an influencer, not an influencer,
Ambassador.
a sort of ambassador of this destination. And you, of course, you become more relevant than other that they are not doing the same thing.
Yeah, I think
it's true, Gianpaolo, what you say, that like you're talking about small towns and villages, and I've worked with some clients recently actually that have accommodation in really tiny little places, that when you go to write the content, because I haven't got to the point yet where I get flown over to to stay in all over the world and see these places. So when you're doing your research, there's you kind of come across, writing about places where there's so little information, and this is such an amazing opportunity as a host, like you say, to become the ambassador of that destination and really shout about it and, create this, amazing story about it and have people, wanting to stay there. So it's such a great opportunity.
Actually, we are helping more every day, more cases like this, people from, they have a small bed and breakfast or a very incredible apartment or villa in a great location in the middle of nowhere maybe, and they are the only property manager or host in miles. So they have the unique opportunity to be there, to create unique content and to be very attractive because they are unique and because they are the only one offering this kind of information. So it's super important.
Yeah.
I think a word that I've heard a couple of times over the last few minutes is inspiration, and how we can inspire our guests and our website visitors. For me, it's a tricky one. I think there are certain things like video, which we might touch upon shortly, that can really help. But how do you guys think we can inspire our website visitors, and how can we get them to potentially? It's very tough, but how can we get them to book direct with us? It's going to be very unlikely that they're going to do it the first time they hit your site. But let's think of hypothetically and theoretically, what can we do to inspire our website visitors to do what we want them to do? Louise.
Okay, so as this whole the topic that we're talking about, great content, just delivering a story and being aspirational, being authentic, really delivering your own personality into your book direct website and making people feel a connection with you, wanting to reach out and find out more and talk to you. So, great content helps to inspire. It also, in the first instance, helps us to gain visibility of our website. So it helps search engines to understand what we do, and it ranks us accordingly. So that drives our ideal guests to our website. So they come to us and they are inspired, ideally by the content that we're writing about the experience, both on and off site. And if we want then to get them to book direct with us, to stay on our website, we need to be creating lots of great book direct messages, which are educating them about the benefits of booking direct, why they should be booking with us and not jumping over to an OTA to book. And then lots of visible call to action messages and buttons to get to that booking stage. So lots of people have a nice website and they write lots of nice content, but they don't make the what's the word? They don't kind of go in for the kill. They don't give people what they need to make that direct booking, which sometimes means that people will go off and make the booking on the OTA because they think this is just a presentation. I can't actually book here. That's such a huge mistake. You've spent all this time, building your website, money on building it, maybe if you haven't built it on your own, and all of your time and effort on writing the content. But you've got to have those call to action messages, and you've got to have those tools on the site so that people can finalize that booking. And you've got to make, again, yourself known, so your story, so people feel that connection with you. They want to reach out and talk to you.
Yeah, I think that those call to actions are really important. I think most clients that I work with, they will have several pages across their site where, yes, they may have answered a question brilliantly, but there's no direction at that point. You're not being driven anywhere. And so the kind of the funnel has been lost. And as you say, they'll go back elsewhere where they may have seen that brand or potentially get lost in another OTA.
Yeah.
Yvonne, what do you do to advise your clients about?
Yeah, I have a particular. Yeah, I have a similar to Louise. Actually, I have a particular philosophy on websites, and I like to think of. I teach my clients how to think of their website as their virtual home online, and so the home page is the entrance hall. So, what do you say when you open the door to your guests in the physical world to invite them in? And if you think of your homepage as your entrance hall or the entrance to your property, then you think differently about what to put in on that homepage. So a lot of people clutter up their entrance hall with all kinds of things. Really, the entrance hall is like signposting. You go this way to the rooms, you go this way to the garden, you go this way to the area to find out what's going on in the area. And if you can signpost people from the homepage and then you lead them, it's like taking them by the hand from the homepage on a journey around your website, never leaving them without a call to action, always taking them to the next step, which could be book a room, but it might not be. You have to get into the head of the guest, and as you're taking them around your website, you drop in little testimonials, one-liner reviews here and there. And then there's a call to action. Click here to see our rooms. Want to see more of our rooms? Click here to see what this person said about our rooms. Want to see the garden? Let's take you out here. And all the while, you're creating engagement and well-written content that takes them on a journey and doesn't lead them into a dead end, what I call a dead end or a cul-de-sac. You have to take them on to the next step. And the longer you can keep them engaged on your website through that well thought out customer journey, then the more chance you are of having them book direct. And it's not enough just to have the book direct button at the top on the navigation bar. You've got to have it everywhere. And it's not enough just to have your rooms tab on the navigation bar either. You've got to have them everywhere. You're taking them on a trip around your property to show them what you offer, what kind of experience they're going to have when they stay with you, and what other people have said.
Brilliant points. Yeah, I love that about the journey as well, Yvonne. I think it is a journey, and it's starting that first time they do hit our website, and I think just that the beginning of the awareness of our brand is important. But also a lot of people talk about guest experience and at what point the guest experience starts. Most people would probably say that it starts at the point of booking, but for me it starts well earlier than that. It starts at the moment they become aware of us and our products. Yeah. And this is, where did they see that on an OTA and then come looking for us elsewhere, or find our website or see us on social media, etc. But I think that journey starts early, and this is one of the ways that we can funnel them in the right direction. Gianpaolo,
I would say, apart from technology, which is super important these days, because website is, as Yvonne said, is the portion of internet that is yours. You have full control over it, and you need to take advantage of every single pixel of your website to attract your guests. But to me, I'm trying to help potential property manager and guests and owners to improve their performances. I always say, try to meet your guest expectations. This is super important, but at the same time, don't betray their expectations. So don't oversell. Many times, a lot of people is creating super good content, really nice pictures, but in the end, when the guest is in front of your door, their expectations are maximum because they are enjoying their holidays or they are having 3 days off, and when they come in your place and they say, "Hey, I was expecting something different," so it's like you need to being able to set the expectations to find all your potential, your customer target customer expectation, but at the same time being able to fulfill this expectation, because if you betray them, then you're done. This is super important. So you're having good contents, having a good website, and then in the very end, but it's not the last thing you need to consider, don't meet and don't betray expectation of your guests. Yeah. So it's my turn now. I have three very, very quick questions. Rapid fire is, you know, when you're creating content, it's very important to have to be inspired. Where do you find inspiration? Where do you find, you know, topics that are attractive for your guests? Yvonne.
Well, again, going back to the questions, what are the questions that people are asking you about your property before they book? And what are the questions that you're constantly being asked when they have booked, when they arrive? What are the questions that you need to answer that they're not asking, that are maybe going on in their heads, to reassure people that you have the goods, that you have the right property for them, the right proposition for them? So start with the questions that, A, that people are already asking, and B, perhaps you have sense that they need to know about, but they're not asking, or maybe there are some questions that they ask before they book, maybe there's some questions they ask when they arrive, or when in the communication before they decide on, make their decision. Because keep in mind that the questions are really important, because all the time that they're asking questions, they're looking for reassurance from you that you are the right choice for them. And that reassurance needs reinforcing all the way through the inquiry process, to the booking process, to the arrival, and even after they've arrived as well. They're constantly looking for reassurance that they're smart and they've made a great decision, and B, that they haven't been spammed.
Louise?
Absolutely, yeah. Both your inquiries and going onto Google and looking at the destination, so understanding the inquiries that people are searching for on your destination and being able to answer those. But going back as well, when you're thinking about your accommodation business, for me, when I'm working with clients, before we even think about content, we're thinking about who we want to stay in the accommodation. So we're thinking about creating an ideal guest profile, and we're thinking about the niche, where the accommodation is, what this ideal guest is going to love, what it is that they want from our accommodation, from the experience when they stay. So if you put your ideal guest first and you start to bring together what your ideal guest wants and what your destination offers, and then you can start to look for inspiration on Google. So I know Damien will probably mention there's some great free tools that you can find that will inspire you also to with kind of content ideas from search inquiries about your destination. Once you've got ideas, also once you're the local expert, so you know why people want to stay in your destination. So think about those when you start to search for your destination on Google. For example, if you pet friendly beaches on the Costa del Sol, for example, okay, then a really great tip is to look at page 1 of Google with that search inquiry. Look at what people are writing. How have those people ranked on page 1? For that specific search inquiry that you want to write about. So you're not going to copy their content, but you're going to take inspiration for it. You're going to use information that you're using because it has helped them to rank high on Google. So think about your destination, think about your ideal guest, and then take inspiration from what's happening on pages, on the first page or the first couple of pages of Google. And then, but always writing in your authentic and personal tone. As I said, you're the local ambassador.
I'll add to that. Just being the expert and knowing that you're a local expert. If you're not, become the local expert. Because I think we all too often forget about our own expertise and our own knowledge in our local areas. But let that shine forth. Make sure you are fully aware of all of the bars, all of the restaurants, all of the local events going on. All of those questions, the reasons people have come to stay with you over the last months or years. Get to know your area and everything about it, because that's something to play on, and that's something that guests, can really see through or not. when they inquire, have you got the answers that we've touched upon before? And if and when you do, and if that's on your website, they are so much more likely to book direct with you. It really gives you a much greater chance. And in terms of tools that Louise was just talking about before, yeah, Google is a really easy tool to start using for Google keyword research. Yvonne spoke about before. To autocomplete when you start to put in your destination in the Google search box, just to see what starts coming up. Search Console is a brilliant tool. What else? We've got Answer the Public. Google related to answers. There's so many things. Contact me if you want to list them. But there's so many free tools out there to find out what people are trying. The questions that Yvonne has spoken about, that people are asking about. Yeah.
One question that is really important, because many times, your website is the home of your content, but many times you need to find ways to distribute your contents. Do you think that social media are playing an important role to distribute the content you're producing, Yvonne?
Yes. Yes, definitely. Because if you think about your website is the center of your universe, right? That's where you want to get people to come to your home, your virtual home online. And the platforms like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, all of those places, they're like satellites, if you like. So you can create like a mini presence, like a mini website almost on those social media platforms that lead back to your main home. So if you think of it, okay, so what do I need to put out onto the satellites so that they come back to me? If you're not posting on social media, not creating a consistently branded presence, really important on social media, then you're missing out because more people are on social media now than ever before, and it shows no signs of slowing down. If you're not there, then you are going to be missing out on valuable people, valuable bookings, potential bookings coming back to your website. All roads should lead to your website, but you need to have your satellites working for you in conjunction with your website, so that there's a kind of relationship between the two. The reason I mentioned consistently branded presence is because when you're out there on your satellites, we need to know it's you, right? Because if you're not looking vaguely or similar to how you look on your website, then we don't know it's you, and then the trust is broken. Because there's so many ways that people can be scammed on those platforms these days. If you don't create a consistently branded presence online, then doubt creeps in, and then that will impede your direct bookings. The other thing that I want to say is, and we've touched on it before, is that you are the center of your universe in your hospitality business. People book independent hospitality accommodations because they want to talk to somebody. They want to have some insider scoop. They want the inside story on your destination. You becoming the expert on your area is crucial to the success of your direct bookings business. Absolutely crucial. You can no longer be anonymous. If you're trying to be anonymous on those platforms by not showing your face, and I see this so many times, where properties are out there and they're leading with the picture of their house or picture of their apartments. They want to see you. We can't engage with a property. We can only engage on a human-to-human basis. So those platforms are essential to your overall strategy of showing your face where the people are, because the people are already there on the satellites, on the platforms. I'm calling them satellites, but on the social media platforms, that's where the people are. That's where your ideal guests are, right? They're not generally looking for your website at that point. They're looking to see who's on social media and who's being recommended, and they're asking questions of their peer groups. I want to go and stay in Cornwall. I want to stay on the Costa del Sol. Who do you recommend? That's how it works. And you need to position yourself on those platforms as the expert on your area, so that people are then recommending you. That's how you use them.
Louise?
Yeah, 100% agree. I'm actually terrible at my own social media. But yeah, if you also going back to what we mentioned before and something that Yvonne mentioned, when you know your ideal guest, you can hang out where they hang out, whatever social media platform that is and whatever groups they're in. So knowing your ideal guest and being able to hang out where they hang out and post your kind of brand story and publish your branded content as well is so important, because aside from hanging out where they hang out, a high percentage, I don't have the statistics on me at the moment, but a very high percentage of people are now using social media to choose a destination, especially video, especially looking at destination videos on YouTube and other social platforms. So it's super, super important to be on there. But again, as Yvonne said, always with the strategy that you're delivering people back to your Book Direct website.
Like yourself, Louise, I am a bit rubbish at social media, and I have been for many years. I mean, quite often it's difficult to get the time to do it right, at least. And I'm gonna really promote Yvonne here, because I stalked her for some time before bringing her in on the Book Direct show last year in London, and she really knows her stuff, and she really taught me an awful lot about Facebook. She's going to be speaking again in September about Facebook and how to drive direct bookings from Facebook. But for me, it's a minefield, and I find it very difficult, social media especially, to be seen, and to kind of abide by these algorithms and to do the right things, to be seen by more than just 2 or 3 people at a time and putting that effort in. So anyone who's interested in learning more, please do come and join Yvonne's talk. And Louise is going to be speaking about content marketing, which is all about. So, yeah, please do join.
The very last question is about which content format would you recommend to people working in holiday rentals? So, very last one, Yvonne.
Yeah, I mean, there's so many ways that you can create content these days, written word, images, videos. I'm a big fan of videos, but not everybody can do them. You've got to pick a media. I mean, it's good to switch them up. People will say you've got to do all of them, but I recommend that you do the one that feels great to you. The one where you can best express yourself is the best format to use. So if somebody says, oh, well, you need to do some videos and you need to do some live streams and you need to do some, some memes and create some GIFs and all of that. Yeah, if you like doing that, great. But if you don't like doing that, then pick something where you can feel comfortable, where you can express yourself in the best way possible, that's going to create that authentic connection with your reader, viewer, or the person who's looking at you on social media. Always come back to your authentic self. And I know what you mean, Damien, about social media, about not being seen and trying to get seen. It really is about being your authentic self and expressing yourself in a way that feels natural to you, and not trying to copy what someone else is doing or trying to imitate what someone else. Well, she did a cooking video, so I'm going to do a cooking video. If you don't like cooking, it's going to come across as as a fake imitation. That's what you don't want to create. If you want to create trust, which is what we need to do, know, like, and trust in order to get direct bookings, then you have to show up as yourself, your true authentic self, in whatever format that feels best for you.
Louise?
I completely agree. I think if I'm looking at it from like an inbound content view, so what you're writing on your website. So we know that Google loves words. Probably your visitor isn't going to read your 2,000 word destination guide, although you hope they do. So what's really important is to mix up your content. Okay, so you don't have to create a video. You can take videos from YouTube as long as they're credited, but make that mix, because Google will love written content and Google loves video content as well. So just always, for my perspective, is to create a structure for every piece of content that you write, so that people recognize your structure as well. They recognize that they're going to find specific content that's going to have some text, it's going to have some headlines, it's going to have a video in it as well. Again, it doesn't have to be yours. And also think, so you can really mix up. You can use infographics. I mean, you can take your content. So if you've written a number of articles about your destination, why not then take that and create an ebook? So you can create different formats. Again, it might not feel comfortable for you. There are lots of people out there that will help you, and there's lots of tools that will also help you as well. But if you think about, if you're writing this content, think about how you can use it, make it into different formats to be able to distribute it outside of your home, outside of your Book Direct website. I mean, there are even tools that will take your written article and create a video. So you can then share that video on social media channels. You can create your YouTube channel. So I think, for me, mixing it up, but creating a structure that people recognize.
Okay.
I think, personally, as an SEO, I would be generally about written content. That would be number one. But as I think, Louise, you just mentioned there, that Google loves words. Google also loves YouTube. And I think something that we all have within us, if we're happy to create videos ourselves, and it needn't be expensive. We have amazing smartphones now that can help us do this. If we optimize our videos well on YouTube, that's a really easy way to actually get found for certain search terms.
The difference between the traction that I get from video content to written content is incredible. And as I said, when you're thinking about your inbound content on your actual website, you absolutely written comes first, but bringing them both together. But the traction and the feedback and the engagement that you have when you make a video is incredible. And I've been writing for most of my life, and I've only been working on video for like the last year, and the engagement is massive. So it's worth taking some time out to, even if that you think that they're terrible, you've got to start somewhere.
It's terrible to start off with, but that's the thing. Once you post a few, you do get a bit better. It doesn't have to feature you or your face in it either. This is the thing. It can just be, something about your local area, or filming at a local event. But something that's really important for video and in terms of SEO and keeping people engaged on your website as well is to embed your videos. So be that from YouTube or from Vimeo or from all of these video platforms, having those on your website keeps people engaged on your website for longer and keeps them inspired as well. Absolutely. And for me, it gives you much more of an opportunity to get those direct bookings, or at least for people just to stay with you a bit longer and to potentially remember you more than they may otherwise.
So we get to the end now. So
I think so. I think we've covered quite a bit on content. I
think so. I mean, we can talk about content for ages now. There's a lot of things to do and to say about content, because it's the most important thing you need to consider. One of the most important things you need to consider on the Book Direct strategy. So I'd like to give a big thank to Yvonne and to Louise to having been with us this afternoon. I'd like to remember to all those follow the video until this moment that they are going to be present both at the either at the Book Direct show in
September. Yep, September 1st to the 13th. Yep.
And on the very last day of the short stay week at the Book Direct Day, which is another opportunity to talk about Book Direct and how to get more direct traffic to your website. So we are going to add to the description of this video the link to enjoy the bundle. So we are going to offer you for 99 euros or 90 pounds, depends on where you're based, to enjoy the two events together for just this amount, 99 or 90 pounds. And that's it.
Yeah, I'd like to also add that if you're not following these guys already, make sure you are, because both Louise and Yvonne post regular stuff online. They're involved in webinars, they do training courses, and they're immense. And individuals that I'm really proud to be friends with, and also to be involved with the show and to see what they're doing. And these are inspirational people. So ignore them at your peril.
So thank you for supporting these events, because we really need people like you in our industry, because people need inspiration these days, and there are a lot of false prophets out there, I would say, especially during the pandemic. We had a lot of false prophets, and we need to find the right ones. So thank you very much for being there and to help a lot of professionals to become more and more professionals.
Oh, thank you for the invite. It's been fantastic, and it is. We have an amazing industry. We're kind of a small crowd of people, but we're all so passionate about this book direct movement. So I'm proud to be part of it.
Thank you very much for being with us today.
Thanks,
Damien, for being partner in business once again. And we are going to invite you to join our next webinar that is going to be about video marketing. And we are going to have David Tucker and Wendy J. And I hope to say her name correctly, because it's Wendy J. Okay, sorry. And we're talking about another important component of the book direct strategy, that is the video marketing. As we talk about today, video is becoming more and more consistent as a part of the book direct strategy. So this is a goodbye. So see you to the next webinar. Bye.
Bye.